Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Al Punto de la Pelota, HHHBM Network's podcast. We are here with Johanna-Rosalye Luna, myself, and Amaury Pi-Gonzalez joining us here today. Hi, Amaury. How are you?
I'm fine, Johanna. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Starting off the weekend very well, launching our podcast for the summer, so couldn't be more excited.
Yes, when the 1/3 of the season is almost done now, so things are getting very interesting in all the divisions.
Yes, they are indeed, and going into the divisions, and we'll go ahead and start off with that. You mentioned it, divisions are heating up, being that it's already 1/3 of the season, going into already starting with the All-Star game coming up soon, and we have the National League West that is on fire right now. The other night I kept checking the standings to see who's leading who and what was going on with the games, who's losing, and how everybody was throughout the day. And I think I saw like 3 different changes throughout the day a couple of nights ago. I don't know if you got to see that, Amaury, with the Colorado Rockies, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that is the hottest race going on. You got basically this division is divided into 2 groups. You have the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Rockies, and then you have the Padres and the Giants in the rear. Right now, it's a 3-team race. The Dodgers, as we speak, are in first place. However, like you mentioned before, you can wake up one day and see the Diamondbacks in first or the Rockies. Now, the Rockies were in first place for the longest time. Now, anybody who follows baseball knows that the Rockies' Achilles heel has been their pitching. They can hit. They have a great lineup with Carlos Gonzalez and Blackmon and Nolan Arenado. They can put a lot of runs on the board, but I don't know they have the pitching to stay and to win this division. They might try to contend for a wild card. The Dodgers are, I believe, the best team in this division. That doesn't mean they're going to win, but they look like the best team. They have just about everything you need. Of course, we're going to talk about Clayton Kershaw in a few minutes, the best pitcher in the game. But the Diamondbacks have a very good team. They can hit also. Greinke, Corbin, they have some pitchers there. And as you know, you follow the Diamondbacks, they were in first place too. They dropped a little bit. But as we speak now, it's a 3-team race. It's going to be very exciting. I don't know if the Padres can come back, and I don't think the Giants have enough this year. They have Madison Bumgarner, the number 1 pitcher, hurt in an accident off the field. So it looks now like it's going to be a 3-team race. We are at the beginning of June. After this month, then you have coming up the All-Star game in about 5 weeks. So it looks like this will be a 3-team race unless something changes very quickly. But these 3 teams are very even. They're playing well, both of them, the 3 of them, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and the Rockies. I think the Rockies are going to drop down a little bit further. This could be a race between Arizona and Los Angeles.
Yes, you mentioned it's a 3-team race. They're half a game off of each other. Last night when I checked, the Colorado Rockies were in first place. Dodgers and Arizona tied right there behind Colorado with only half a game behind Colorado. So it's very, very slim margin of those, depending on that win and loss, who goes up ahead and who goes down below. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out as we go into the second season. I'm excited to see that. Like you mentioned, I agree with you with Colorado possibly dropping down a little bit below. This is going into the second part of the season. This is when it gets a little bit more intense for these teams. They're facing the Diamondbacks will be facing the Cubs, and they'll be facing again the Dodgers. They meet several times throughout the season. So, and for the Dodgers as well, they'll meet those contenders that will put them in, those places that will be definitive of where they place in the standings. You mentioned the Dodgers. They have a phenomenal pitching rotation. Diamondbacks too. They've made a major turnaround from what they had what was going on last season, as far as them winning and losing games. And to this season, it's a totally different team, especially with Torey Lovullo with the new manager. It is a great change to see as well.
Yeah, the Dodgers, we got to remember that last year the Dodgers did not have a healthy Kershaw for the whole season. And he's the best pitcher in the game, no doubt about it. And now he's healthy. He could win 18, 20 games. He's the number one pitcher on that staff. You mentioned that pitching staff. He is a good pitching staff. Maeda is a very good pitcher from Japan. He's not a guy who throws 100 miles an hour, but he has a lot of good stuff. He really strikes out people. They do have the deepest team. The bullpen is a very good bullpen. And, you know, the Dodgers is a team that they will have to beat the Diamondbacks head-to-head and the Rockies head-to-head at the end. Because, like I mentioned before, I don't think San Francisco and San Diego, they're too far behind now, and they have too many problems. I never expected San Diego to be a contender. And I did expect the Giants to do something from the beginning, but they had a lot of injuries and they had a lot of problems. Still a long season. They still have some hopes in San Francisco because it's a team, as we know, in the last 7 years that won 3 World Series. But having said that, this is not the same team. I mean, when they won the World Series, they got guys like Pablo Sandoval. They had a lot of people, a lot of key pieces hitting home runs. Right now, they got Eduardo Nunez at third base, and they have problems. Buster Posey is not having it, hitting 350, but he's not driving a lot of runs. So the Giants, they're a big question mark. I don't think they're going to make it, even as a wild card. But here's the thing. The National League West, the team that wins is in, of course. But the team who finished second could be a wild card. It is conceivable that the Dodgers will win the division and the Diamondbacks will be the wild card, or the other way around. The Diamondbacks could get hot, win the division, and the Dodgers come in as a wild card. But that is an interesting division right now, the most in baseball. Like we mentioned before, every day it seems to be a different guy in first place. So it's going to be a race to the finish. I think those 3 teams are qualified. They're very even, with the Dodgers, in my opinion, having the edge. Bellinger is a young kid contending for Rookie of the Year. They can hit. Adrian Gonzalez is back. The Dodgers, when they have everything, they have great defense and they have great pitching. It's very tough to pick another team to win that division. But, that's why they play it. That's why they play. We never know what's going to happen in the long run. But I would say the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are the 2 best teams right now.
No, I couldn't agree more. I have to agree with you there. And then now going on to the AL West, there's really not a competition there going on now. The reason I want to touch on this is due to the Astros. They've been making noise since a couple of seasons when they clinched the playoff berth here against the Diamondbacks. And they were a team that weren't expected to clinch a playoff, and they've had those players, players that can make the game changer for the team. And they made some noise last year. They didn't get as far as they would have liked, but they put up a good fight during the playoffs. And this season, we're seeing them with a major lead in the AL West. Last night on the standings, I saw there were about 11 games ahead of in first place, and all the other teams are 11, 12, 13, and go down the list. And I just think that this is a team that going into the second half of the season and going into the playoffs, that is a possibility that they can make it even further this year than what they did last year. So it could be a potential danger for some teams that and they're not expecting from the Astros.
Well, yeah, I agree. The last the last 2 months, the Houston Astros have been playing like the best team in the game. In Dallas, Keuchel is looking for another Cy Young Award. Tremendous pitcher. McCullers, they're very deep. I follow this division a lot. I don't see anybody challenging the Astros. They could win their 40th game today. The 32 games over 500, and forget 500, they're playing 700 ball. And like you mentioned, the Angels, the Angels, I feel for the Angels, the Rangers, the A's, and the Mariners. The Mariners have used 15 different starters, 15. I mean, they're besieged by problems and injuries, and now they got Jan Segura and Nelson Cruz are banged up. I would say that this is a race now for maybe second place. I don't see the Houston Astros. I mean, something catastrophic has to happen to them. They're just too deep. You mentioned the players they got. George Springer hasn't even hit his stride. Carlos Correa is one of the best players in the world. Altuve could win another batting title. He's won 2. They got bullpen this year. They got pitching. They can pick up the ball. Good manager. The Astros are a very, very strong team. One of those teams I would not be surprised to see in the World Series. You mentioned it before, and you said it well. They've been a good team the last 2 years, but they have not been able to put it together. It's still a young team. And now they're putting it together, and they're a scary team. They really are. The other day they were trailing by 8 runs. They scored 11 runs in 1 inning. I mean, this division right now is a blowout. There's nobody who's going to catch this team in the foreseeable future.
No, definitely. And I just think that this is a dangerous team that possibly not a lot of teams out there are really paying too much attention and probably should. And I know they haven't in the past seasons. But I think they're a little bit of an underdog, and I'm very interested to see how far they can go this season, and wouldn't be surprised that, like you mentioned it, they go to the World Series this year.
Yeah, they could. Look, the Angels are in second place, and they're 12 games out. And the biggest thing in Anaheim is not the division race, because the fans understand baseball is a numerical sport. It's a lot of stats. It's very tough for anybody to catch the Astros. They're still waiting here for Albert Pujols to hit his 600th home run. The Dominican designated hitter Pujols is 1 home run away from 600, and if he does it between today and tomorrow, he will do it at home, and that's why they're getting 40,000 people here trying to see if he can accomplish that tremendous, record, which is he will be the 9th player in history to hit 600 home runs, and that is the biggest attraction. So that's a lot to be said. And then they lost Mike Trout for a couple of months for an injury in his left thumb, sliding at second base last Sunday in Miami, trying to steal second base. They are without Mike Trout, probably the best player in the game. And now you got a future Hall of Famer, Albert Pujols, going for his 600th home run. And that is the biggest thing in Anaheim, because the fans understand that it's a long way to go, but this team doesn't have enough. There's nobody in this division in the American League West we're speaking now that I don't think has enough gasoline to run with the Astros. The Astros are like a Maserati right now, and the other teams are just 4 cylinders. There's no way. I don't see anybody catching the Astros. So this division could be the first to be clinched this year, the way the Astros are playing. Again, they win today, they'll be the first team with 40 wins.
Oh, yeah. So, no, definitely, and excited to see how that turns out to the results for the season. And like you mentioned, records are being broken. Pujols, you mentioned it, 600 home run, and that's something to be anxious for, of course. And speaking of records, and Kershaw, he hit his 2,000 career strikeout, being with the fewest games needed to reach 2,000 strikeouts behind Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson's at first Hall of Famer, 262 games. Kershaw behind 277. And let me just go ahead and read off some interesting facts for you for Kershaw. Give me this one over here. And he's just very, very impressive. Third fastest pitcher in baseball history to reach 2,000 strikeouts. Fourth most strikeouts in franchise history for the Dodgers. He is the 5th youngest pitcher to reach 2,000 strikeouts. 8th active strikeout leader in MLB, and leads the Dodgers with most strikeouts per 9 innings. That is a major impressive for Kershaw, and previous Cy Young Award winner. Without a doubt, I believe he will be once again Cy Young Award winner. I'm beyond words to describe the type of season he is having with the Dodgers.
Yes, I mean, he is an exceptional pitcher. I mean, barring an injury, this guy's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's just